Hello, my name is Paula Casella, and I am a ceramist. In the year 2015, I created Bambusito Ceramica to be able to show the world what truly impassions me. I create decorative and functional ceramic pieces. Currently, I am focused on designing tableware. In this lesson, we are going to see how to make the plaster mold in order to make the Z-shaped bowl. We are going to use, as we discussed in the materials lesson, powdered plaster. The detergent, or hand soap that can be used as a foaming agent, and the bowl with water. I have put the same amount of this small bowl that we are going to use as a mold, the same amount of water. Actually, a little less is used because we are going to add the powdered dye and there will be some left over. But well, just to be on the safe side and so that you see that there is no problem, all you have to do is apply it. The overflower in the bowl that we are going to use to make the mold. It doesn't need to be applied or very even. Not too perfect, not too anything. It's just so that the plaster comes off once we place it in here and it's dry. So, once we have the overflow, what we're going to do is prepare the plaster. Usually, there are measurements to make the mold. I do it all by eye and to make it easier, so you don't have to constantly think about whether it's 1 measure of water to 3 measures of powder. The easiest way is go putting, spreading it in the water. The important thing is to try this, yes, do it evenly so that no lumps fall. Don't let all the weight fall in one place at once, spread it out throughout the water. But we're going to do it without any measurements. We're going to do it by eye, and now I'm going to explain it to you. How do we know when the plaster is ready? What is important is that sex is indeed bought in drugstores or in ceramic houses, even better. That the sex they can sell on construction sites, because or in hardware stores, because it is usually dust, is usually a little thinner. And it helps us to prevent lumps from forming and to ensure that no small stones remain inside the mold, which could damage the clay when we place it in the mold. Here, small islands of plaster begin to form. This will indicate that the plaster is almost ready. We're spreading it out where we see there's more water, and where the plaster still needs a little more time to dry. We can see here that they are creating some small islands. That means that the preparation is almost finished. Once there are several islands left, but we also see that we are covering them up. The water around, that there is no puddle of water where you do not see any sex, but I can see that everywhere I am already coming to the surface with the dust. That is the ideal consistency of sex. That's why you shouldn't measure, you shouldn't worry about whether I have it or not. So much dust, so much water, because this is what matters. So, once it's like this, what I have to do now is get dirty and stir a little with your fingers. You have to make sure that there are no lumps left. This is that, how fine it is, as if it were bought in a ceramic shop. It usually doesn't have any lumps, and to check if the plaster is good, what we're actually going to do is lift it. Once we see that the preparation is homogeneous, I can see that there is not too much liquid on one side and too much powder on the other. I can see that we are doing great, and I raise my fingers. If I raise my fingers and see that they are covered, that I can't see the nail or the lines on the skin, that means the mixture is perfect to use. If I were to see, for example, that there is a part where it remains like this, error. This is that sex is not right, because it has too much water and too little dust. So you would have to add more powder, but by doing the island trick you shouldn't have any problem. This is it, it's perfect. It covers my fingers well, so what I'm going to do, just put it directly into the cabinet. All this that I have left over, it's better to let it dry and throw it away. Once it is dry, we will throw it away, never throw it away. Please, this is wet because of the sink, because if you throw it down the sink, it's going to clog up your pipes at home, and you're going to have a problem. So, let it dry properly. Then, give it a few taps or use a spatula to remove it perfectly, because the plaster will be hard and this is ours. Final mold. The important thing here is that the sex never reaches the edge of the surface, because later, when you want to unmold it, if I don't have a space for the sex to start descending, it's very difficult to unmold it. So if we have, it's an airspace, a couple of millimeters is enough. The important thing here is to give it a few gentle taps, so that all the air comes out. In this case there is no air, because I didn't stir it. When you stir it too much, air gets in and there are many bubbles. The ideal thing is to remove all those bubbles, because if you don't, they can come to the surface and be noticeable in the mold. So the ideal thing is to remove all the bubbles. You give it a few small taps. In this case, it's not coming out there. One just came out, but hardly any are coming out. It's because the mixture is perfectly prepared, and that's how we leave it. You'll see that if you have it at home and you keep an eye on it, it's cold now. In a little while it's going to get hot, which means that the plaster is setting. And then it's going to start getting cold again. Once it gets cold again, in a couple of hours, the plaster is already drying and has already set. It is advisable to let it dry for a couple of days before unmolding it to make sure that the mold is well made. If I leave this on a flat surface so that the mold doesn't get misaligned, I'm going to clean my hands a little to unmold the other one so you can see the final result when the resin dries, how it looks inside the mold. Here I have one that I use to make the mushroom set that says Des, because it's my breakfast model. Then, after a couple of days, the mold is going to be this dry, it's going to be hard, it's going to be cold, you'll be able to touch it perfectly, and all you have to do is unmold it on the table by giving it a couple of taps until it comes out. And it is perfectly smooth. And this is the mold that we are going to use now to make the Z set. So you can see, I have a slightly larger one here. The set is 3 out of 5, because I have a set of 5 different sizes, and within this set, well, number 3 is the one I use to make the woven bowl, which we will see in the next selection, on how to make a woven set, and so you can see the difference that can be made with molds, both small and large, without any problem as long as you can control the number of depths, and it gives you the space. The size of the mold doesn't matter, because you can do whatever you need. This one, for example, this measurement is perfect for making salads, for making a salad bowl, or for using on a table for plating. Well, this is everything you need to know to make a plaster mold.